I'm about to roll through 34 drawings. This is 34 drawings of 56. I was recently out in Santa Rosa, California. I was doing a water fast and laying low. So during that period, I drew pictures on top of a little desk in a little room where I laid my paper down and I leaned over on the desk and I drew. And I drew and I drew. I drew 56 drawings in about 20 days. So I was really engulfed in drawings. I think each one of these drawings came so quick and were so direct in the sense of they're not elaborated on. I really call them complete fragments. I call them vignettes. I call them sketches of psychological being. But it made for an interesting set, so I picked 34 of them and is framing them, and I'm going to do a show with them up at the Art Base in Basalt. Opens on the 16th of this month, or next month. So it's coming due fairly quick. July 16th is when the show will open. Fire and Water, that's the name of this drawing. This drawing's very specific. It's Charmaine and I. She is the one with the rose head, the prism eyes, and the train, the molecular train. I am the one rising out of the water as the candle. It's Fire and Water. It's Charmaine and I. I made this drawing for her. Head down. Sometimes you just have to keep your head down and you just have to just roll with the flow and do the best you can with it. But in head down moments, you still can be elevating into a spiraling sphere, an upward motion, if you will. Me holding two rings. Two rings are like a metaphor for something. I am holding something. What am I holding? I'm holding a ring in each hand. It's a metaphor for the possibilities of me holding two rings. This one's called Internal. Internal. The combustion really is from the inside out. The fire is in the center, but there's quite a structure in the center of this, just in terms of mathematical structuring. Internal brings a lot of force with it. The next one is called Deep Tangle. Deep Tangle is really wadded up, knotted up, seemingly with some degree of cadence to its growth pattern. But it's called Deep Tangle. Tangle from within. Tangle is a word that's been around a long time and has a real specific kind of metaphoric thought process behind it. To be tangled up. The next one is called Triple Flower. It's a flower drawn 3 times. You draw it and you draw it and you draw it. And it actually just becomes a very beautiful kind of form and shape, which flowers, of course, are. The next one's called Dark Thistle. Boy, the thistles, you can't walk through them. They'll sting you, they'll stick you. They're harsh. They're very, very harsh to handle. But boy, are they beautiful. thistle plants are so beautiful. Head up. This is where your head, it keeps elevating and elevating and elevating and passes through a certain degree of tangled, but goes on up into a geometric form, very much producing thought. Head up is an intellectual climb. Walking back. Walking back. How far back can we go? Well, we can go a long way. From an anthropological perspective, we can go a long, long, long way. Thousands, tens of thousands, way further back than that. Body knowing. Your body knows so much. It tells you so much. It's very hard sometimes to listen to it. It's hard listening to your body. Your body will also notoriously take the easy way out. You have to keep it from doing that. Sometimes you have to head off your own body. Flower seeing. 5 is a pretty, well, all numbers are particularly important, but this is a flower that will look back at you. You look at it and it will look back at you. It's completely alive with personality. This one's called 4. Just 4. It's like the 4 corners of the earth. World's still got 4 corners. This one's called shadow bird. Sometimes a bird will light on your windowsill or in a tree close by, on a branch or somewhere close where you can really, really look at it. And it does seem as though sometimes they do have shadows that accompany them wherever they are. Deep dive. This drawing is really important. It is diving through infinity. The center of infinity is in the head of the bird. This one is called river flower. I mean, its petals are like the course of a river that meanders. So it has a meandering feel to it. This one's called flower in the wind. This one's almost like gauze. It's real, real, real delicate. Has a shimmer. I mean, how do you draw the wind? You know, I mean, how do you make the wind a flower that looks like it's in the wind? This one is called flight path. This is like reaching the top elevation that you can rise to, and you pause for that split second, and now you're starting to descend into a fall and picking the path of descension. You know, it's called flight path. It's picking a trajectory, a route that you want to take. I mean, we all pick a flight path. This one's called raise. Raise up through and into your head. This is, in essence, it's like a portrait. It's called raise. It's me looking at you. This one's called 3 roses. 3 roses in their own place, surrounded by worlds, and molecular structure and geometric components, but it's still the inside-out organic growth pattern, 3 of them developing right in the middle of this intellectual strata of life. 3 roses. The next one's called In the End. And here it is, in the head, conjuring, developing, bringing something into consciousness from in the head and through the body. Me holding a ring. I had one called Me Holding 2 Rings. Now this is a singular ring. So this is a more focused, but it's me with 2 heads, 2 faces. It's looking 2 directions. This one's called 4 Winds. This is just a pattern repeated 4 times. So it's 4 lines that start at the top and end at the bottom in a drift. They just drift out of existence. 4 winds. This one's called Look from Above. This is a massive amount of energy being produced in the head of this character. The next drawing is called Holy Seed. I mean, there is such a thing, a term as holy seed. The holy seed has significance as a powerful generative force. This one's called Holy Seed. This one's called Bloodweed. Bloodweed, in my case, my reference to bloodweed was a kid, a boy, going hunting with the adults in river bottoms, and you would be literally running through weeds that were like stalks of corn and 8 or 9 feet high, triple your height. And they had fuzz on them, and they would sting you when you ran through. It's called bloodweed. This one's called Eye Level. Eye level. I mean, there's 2 things here. One is at eye level and one is above eye level. One is in the sky and one is in the middle and one is below eye level. This one's called Thinking Up. Making up stuff, thinking up stuff, creating a possibility. If you can manifest that possibility, then you've done something. This drawing is called Circle In. It's coming in from basically that 4-corner thing where 2 of the east-west is infinity signs, but north-south is different. It's patterns, rhymes and rhythms and patterns, and the 3 crosses, the 3 antennas, the 3 receivers and transmitters. It's called Circle In. It's bringing in information. You can bring in information from as far out in the universe as you care to go. The next drawing is called Spot On. Spot On was in the north in the Circle In drawing. But spot on is really a pattern that's been repeated over and over and over. It's as old as wallpaper and decoration. It's a very decorative kind of drawing in that sense. But the idea of having something that is spot on, I really loved it. I loved doing it. I really like this drawing because of just its sheer intensity. The next drawing is called It Is Us. This is us. It is us. I mean, there we are. That's a portrait of us. It's a portrait of humanity. It could be a mask in a way, but it is us. That's like looking us in the eye. This one is called building back. If you're building back, it insinuates that you're building back to something and you're returning to a time. It's really pretty amazing how things are used and used and reused and reused, and the wheel is an example of that. The geometric components. Every generation gets to use them. Every civilization gets to use them. All of humanity gets to use them. You know, that river that starts from a nucleus or returns to, you know, what you would call the black hole, but around it is the building blocks of humanity. It's called building back. This is called four ways. Four ways is like two infinities that have collided and they have formed a center. So the center becomes the center of two different infinities that have crossed paths. This one's called hard flight. This is a pretty tough drawing where there's a lot of force, atmospheric force that this bird has to fly through. It's not easy. That's a metaphor for us, for humanity. It's not easy. You know, we got a lot to fly through. We do the best we can. The next one's called From the Lake. Right at the top of the lake, right at the horizon line of the lake, there's setting this emanating whirl or mass projection along with a growth pattern, molecular growth pattern that comes directly out of the center of the hexagon, a building block. It's waves and waves and waves from the lake.